Japan is no stranger to the latest in technology, especially in transport. It's already home to one of the fastest rail systems in the world. And now, it's about to take a giant leap forward with its brand new magnetically levitated trains. Before we introduce this cutting-edge new development in Japan's transport system, let's take a look at this technology as well as the country's journey with trains. The Shinkansen, Japanese for the bullet train, has been the pride of Japan since its introduction during the 1964 Olympic Games in Tokyo. The tale of the bullet train is one of the impressive advancements that characterized a dawn of a new progressive Japan after the Second World War. Back when it connected Tokyo to Osaka over half a century ago, these trains could only go at 130 miles per hour, an incredible number for its time. However, today, the trains in Japan have reached speeds of up to 200 mph. And the impact of this fast travel can be gauged by how many people it transports at these speeds between Japan's major destinations. It is estimated that these bullet trains carry over 1 million passengers each day. However, the Shinkansen has become more than just a transport system. It symbolizes Japan's technological prowess, and in this light of glory, Japan aims to continue on this path and pave the way for the next chapter of high-speed train travel. However, it has proven to be a much trickier endeavor than anticipated because of how radically different this new enterprise is from a technological perspective. While practically speaking this is land travel, it technically blurs the boundaries since the train never touches the ground for much of its journey. This is due to the core underlying technology called Maglev. While the origins of magnetic levitation lie in Europe, they haven't found much traction there. China, Japan, and South Korea are the only major countries using this technology. In South Korea, the first Maglev line made its debut back in 2016. It was developed to connect Incheon International Airport to Seoul. You might wonder why such cool and not to mention fast technology hasn't caught on in the rest of the world. Well, the most prevalent objection to magnetic levitation has been an obvious one: finances. Because this is a novel technology compared to conventional rail, any project must start from scratch. Everything, including the tracks, needs to be different from the existing train infrastructure. And after this massive initial investment, when it comes to operation, levitating trains don't appear to make much profit either. If anything, it is the opposite. For instance, in China, the other major player in the Maglev game, the Shanghai line reportedly makes losses of anywhere between $85 million and $100 million each year. SC Maglev, or superconducting magnetic levitation trains, date back to the 1970s. They were developed in collaboration with the Central Japan Railway Company and the Railway Technical Research Institute. These trains operate on the concept of magnetic repulsion, specifically the repulsion between the vehicles and the track they run on. And therefore the term maglev comes from combining magnetic and levitation. And to achieve this, an electrodynamic suspension system, or EDS in short, is used to create the levitation effect, which is what makes the train essentially float on the track. So you're literally going to be traveling on air within this train. The superconducting electromagnets that enable the levitation are installed under the vehicle, but the train isn't always floating in the air. The floating action only happens at certain speeds, while for the rest of the time, the train stands stationary on its rubber wheels. And in fact, the train only starts levitating once it hits about 93 miles per hour, because only then the magnetic force is powerful enough to raise it about 4 inches off the ground. This levitation is the secret to its insane speeds since it removes the friction that results from contact with the tracks, as happens in traditional rail systems which run on wheels. You might be wondering how this train even moves forward without any wheels. These same magnetic forces that elevate the train are also responsible for the train's propulsion. And that's it, no wheels required. The train also doesn't need any stabilizing systems since it is the very levitating mechanism dynamically keeping the train stable and centered on the track. By the way, this is the same technology that Elon Musk's Hyperloop uses to make its journey smooth and achieve maximum safety. The exact units that achieve this levitation are superconducting coils. These coils are made of a niobium titanium alloy, but to make these coils super effective, they have to be cooled to an incredibly low temperature, around -269 degrees Celsius. That's minus 452.20 degrees Fahrenheit. This cooling is achieved by treating the coils with liquid helium. So what do we exactly mean by this Maglev's train's insane top speed? In 2015, a human-crewed superconducting Maglev train smashed 2 previous land speed records for rail vehicles. The train was traveling at a speed of 375 miles per hour. which is far quicker than the main competition to Japan's levitating trains. The Maglev trains in Shanghai, China that travel at speeds ranging from 268 to 311 miles per hour, and of course those in South Korea, which can go only 68 miles per hour. But all of these impressive feats have a cost attached to them, which of course Japan, in its ambition for the latest and greatest development projects, is willing to pay. The cost estimates put this project's price tag over $50 billion. And while breaking down how this money is distributed over the project, you might think that most of these dollars are spent on the development of futuristic levitating technology. But in reality, the cost for this project comes from all the new construction this train requires to operate. Since this is a magnetically levitating train, it can't use regular old railway tracks in Japan, because those are designed for trains with wheels. And that's why this train has its dedicated line, known as the Chuo Shinkansen line. Since much of the train's lines lie on top of earthquake-prone areas, most of the tracks for this train will be built underground to ensure the safety of the passengers. The tunneling costs further increase the already expensive development cost of this project. These complex logistics are why Japan will have to pay a pretty penny to put this transport system in place. And so far, it seems to have no problem with that. Even though tunneling will have a considerable cost, it does have its perks. It provides a significant advantage to the magnetic levitating train over its conventional counterparts, the rail-based bullet trains in Japan, whose tracks are mainly over the ground and in the open air. The traditional trains end up having to encounter significantly more air resistance than the Maglev, and this causes a loss in their energy efficiency, something the Maglev doesn't have to experience to that extent. This way, it can go faster. But where the Maglev train saves its energy loss, it also reports far higher energy consumption levels than its conventional rival trains, which is simply a result of the Maglev's much faster speeds. The Maglev and conventional bullet trains consume roughly the same energy at lower speeds. However, as soon as the Maglev picks up its impressive speed, its energy consumption also rises many-fold, since the air resistance drastically increases at those peak speeds. Some estimates put the Maglev's energy consumption at 4 times its conventional counterpart, traveling at its peak speeds of around twice as much as traditional bullet trains. As far as the status of the new Maglev system goes, the Japanese government approved the project, and construction simultaneously commenced back in 2009. As per current plans, it is expected that by 2027, the linear Chuo Shinkansen line will connect Tokyo and Nagoya. This trip between the two major destinations will take only 40 minutes. And to help you get some perspective of how unbelievable that number is, it is slower to fly between the two cities than taking this train. It goes without saying that the Maglev is by far much faster than the present Tokaido line that runs on the pre-existing technology and takes 1.5 hours for the same journey, almost twice the time of the Maglev train. The proposed route will have stops at Shinagawa, Sagamihara, Kofu, Ida, and Nakatsugawa stations. So, what do you think of these incredibly fast levitating trains? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that bell icon and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it.